Hi, let's talk about dealing with burnout in your business as an entrepreneur, and I guess this could also happen in your career, but or a traditional job. But I have dealt with burnout a few times in my business, and I want to say the very first one. I was very blessed. I was like, I'll share my experience with you, and then you can decide like how to best go about it if you are dealing with the same. And that's when you get to the point like my burnout came out, manifested itself with like every time my phone rang, I would yell at it, and I would get instantly just stressed out and anxious and upset and angry and mad, and I would have to change my ringtone every couple like weeks. So it was like I wouldn't, because I would just get sick of that ring, and even though it's like this is business, but it's just like I was just so tired and exhausted, and this is when I was this initial, well, it's happened quite a bit over like the decade, but I've gotten better about it, and I was like, I'm going to share like what's really helped just keep me calm. But initially when I first started my business and I had no idea about boundaries or how to like really manage every single aspect. It's like, okay, I have a business. Okay, I have a lot of customers. Oh, okay, I got to deal with people and manage people and handle myself and all the fears and the weird mental blocks and all that stuff, and then not knowing the importance of valuing myself and taking care of my self-care and self-love and making time for myself too. I just like would give it to everybody else. Everybody else got a piece of me first before I took care of myself, which does not do well. So luckily, I have the most amazing, beautiful mom. She told me one day, it was like it was like probably like 3 years into my business, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it might have been like, 2 or 3 years of like dealing with and managing a 24/7 business. So you can imagine if you don't have a really good systems in place for protecting your energy, what that can do to you and how exhausting it can be. Which I didn't know how exhausted I really was. But anyway, my mom came to me and she's like, hey, we're going to go out to Arizona. We're going to a spa. You're coming with me. It's going to be the most amazing thing you've ever done for yourself. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm sure, I was like, I love a good vacation, like the idea of it. But I'm like, I'm sure it'll be nice, but I doubt it's going to be this groundbreaking experience. And if anyone's familiar with like Canyon Ranch or Miraval out in Arizona, they have a couple resorts across the U.S., but we went to Miraval and out in Tucson, Arizona, and my mom kept saying like, this is going to be the most amazing thing, and you're going to love it, and it'll be so good for you just to get away for a couple days and just experience peace. So I got backup for my business. I didn't have to worry about anything, or my phone ringing, or if there were issues, I had it like all backed up. And so we went out to Arizona. We're in Tennessee, so out to Arizona. And I remember when we got there, there was a woman she was by herself, and she arrived the same day we did, and we had a chance to talk to her, and she said that she goes out to the spa every year. 1 week out of the year, she'll go by herself. She'll leave her family at home, and she'll go take care of herself for a week. And at the time, I was like, wow, like that's very, impressive of her. That's like, wow, good boundaries. But and then I actually experienced what it was. And the spa, or like Miraval is like, like a health resort where it's all amazing, super healthy, but super good food, and there's like all kinds of yoga classes, and there's all kinds of I don't even know what to call it, but lots of spiritual exercises you can do. Whether like Miraval does a really cool thing with horses and learning your own power and learning how to use your solar plexus, and that was like a really powerful experience with like horses. And then they like hiking out in Arizona in the Catalina mountain range, gorgeous, beautiful things, getting in touch with nature. And they offered a multitude of things. And then they have an amazing spa for just like massages and taking care of yourself. And it was just so beautiful, and there was like rosemary was planted all over that resort, so every time you walked anywhere, you're just breathing in all this rosemary, and it was incredibly high vibe. And on top of all of that, it was amazing. They gave you like two spa credits a day. So meaning like you can have 2 different things a day. Like you could have 2 massages every single day, or a massage and a facial. And so my mom and I had our whole week mapped, or we didn't stay a full week, but all, like our entire stay was mapped out. And so I got to pick any kind of massage I wanted, and I had a facial, and it was just like so overwhelmingly delicious. And I did like an Ayurvedic treatment, and I got to the point that I was like, it just felt like it was cleansing all the stress away in this massive way for me that I had never truly experienced before. Like not worrying, or not having a cell phone. I couldn't even worry about work. Even if I wanted to worry about work, I couldn't. And plus, at that point, I got to that point where I was like, oh, wow, I'm in burnout. I had no idea that I was burning both ends of the candle, just trying to keep myself together, to keep everything running, and trying to do everything myself, and which is not a way to do business, by the way, for any sort of long-term period. But it was so hilarious that like they had this gorgeous waiting room. It was like this beautiful sunroom where they had teas and all kinds of tea and snacks for you to and these relaxing chases, and that overlooked the Catalina mountain range, and you could just sit back and relax and enjoy your tea while you waited for someone to come get you, for one of the attendants to come get you for your massage. And I don't think it happened the first day, or the first appointment I had, but again, I was having to go in there twice a day. I got to the point where I accidentally fell asleep, like on the first day, like in the afternoon. I fell asleep in the chair, and it took 3 people to wake me up. Like the first attendant came to me, and they like shook me, and they couldn't get me awake, so they brought in more and more people to help wake me up. And like I was so embarrassed the first time it happened. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. It's like you're waiting maybe 5 or 10 minutes. It's not like you're in there very long. But it kept happening. That was a problem. It kept happening every time I had, like the next day I would go in there. I was like, okay, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm going to stay awake. I'm enjoying this beautiful view. I got my tea. We're good. I'm not going to fall asleep. And then bam, I would fall asleep again and wake up to like 3 people surrounding me. They're like, we're trying to wake you up. And I realized that that's how exhausted I was and did not even know it. And, and I was like, coming back from that trip, I just want to say, it's like what it showed me. It just felt like melting down all the crap that I was carrying, all the burden of anxiety, of trying to maintain a successful business and not knowing an easier way to do it, like trying to do everything the hard way, and just having all that totally melt away. And like you're eating amazing good food, you're taking care of your body to the nth degree, and there's yoga and this beautiful nature, and it's just everything is just amazing, and you're cared for, and you don't have to worry about anything. Coming home, when I came back home from that, I wish I had done reinforcement for that, because I came back and I felt like I was levitating. I was just like, I am so at peace. Like everything like all the people that are difficult to work with, or the things that stress me out, they just couldn't touch me. Like I felt like my energy field was like so strong, and like boom, like nothing can touch this. And the unfortunate thing I didn't do was like have reinforcement, like activities or things that I would use to reinforce that high vibe. In which case, I eventually learned it down the road. Again, my mom she's always so good. She knows what I need when I get to that breaking point. When I don't realize I'm at a breaking point, and my mom always has sensed it for me through my entire life. Like, okay, we need to go away for a little bit. Like you need to get a weekend away before you have a meltdown. But I was going to say, so like, it's easy, like, if you're already out somewhere and, like, taking massive good care of yourself if you're already on vacation, but to make sure, like, those things are in your daily, in your weekly, schedule in your life, like, whether it's, I know a few things, like, I do is, like, yoga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I go see my spiritual counselor, Reiki healer, I go to a kinesiologist, this is not stuff, like, it's happening every week, but it's stuff that I make time for as needed. And I don't let my entire self-care regime slide. And it's also, even if you're on tighter budget for some of that stuff. Like I've said, like kinesiology is very, very, very affordable. With my kinesiologist, it's like he doesn't even charge if everything's fine. If your body doesn't need anything, he doesn't even charge you, just in and out. But if you're some other things like a massage or getting a Reiki session, if that's something that you can't add in on a regular basis, even if something just taking a massive, massive, awesome bath or Dead Sea salt, or like ocean, sea salt bath, like massive amounts of like Epsom salt, sea salt, and essential oils, and something like this, like a massive bubble bath for you. If you can do that, is amazing. Like even something simple as that, which doesn't really cost any money, other than the supplies, and adding that in to your self-care regime. Especially if you're dealing with burnout. And I know it can be difficult just to like even give yourself permission to take that time away. Like, oh, I need to be doing the laundry, or I need to be doing this or that, or I could be working on my business. It's like taking that time away is massive for your overall well-being. And I have forgotten that. And especially if you're going through any, trials and tribulations, like, divorce or a death of a loved one or something like really, really traumatic, that even more so when you need to be taking really good care of yourself. And I was going to say another really good thing that's super easy, that I have enjoyed doing is my amazing boyfriend will take me out on weekends and we'll go camping at the very least. And we'll at least do that to get away. And, and that doesn't, the cost of doing that is like absolutely massive, like the value given for getting away, going out in nature, going for like, nothing, we don't do anything crazy. It's just like, I don't go for like a 10-mile hike anywhere, but if that was your thing, you could do it. But even just being like taking an hammock, posting up somewhere and just relaxing in nature, in the woods, or like in the mountains, by the lake, or like we went to the beach this month. It's like scheduling in that time throughout your year to take care of you. The payoff is huge, and that practice as preventative care against burnout, against overall just stress and everything. And it's not only like preventing like burnout, really massive anxiety and stress, but it's also giving your body and your mind a chance just to get to equilibrium again, and to, especially if you're in business and you're trying to come up with new things or new perspectives on how to go about, problems or solving something, or like what next step to take. That will give you that room to breathe and like really find out like what's the most important thing here, what are the priorities here, and just bring down that anxiety down a notch or two and just chill. Just relax. So so I highly recommend, if you can't do a massive vacation. Oh, I needed to tell you another thing I did. So I got to go on a really awesome girls trip last end of last year to Las Vegas, and one of the days was scheduled where it was just like I just had the day to myself. And so what did I do? I planned a day at the spa, and it was amazing. I got to spend a whole day at the Canyon Ranch Spa at the Venetian, and it was so amazing. And then the next day, technically we were scheduled to go hiking, and I had spent that whole day at the spa, no clothes, pampered to the max, drinking my cucumber fruit-infused water, and just totally relaxing, enjoying all the amenities, and getting a really amazing massage. And then the next day, they were like, okay, we're going to go hiking. And I was like, I think I might go back to the spa. And so, what I was able to do, and they said, okay, that's fine. And I was like, I know we're here to have a girls trip, and I couldn't convince any of the girls to go to the spa with me. And I was trying to tell them, hey, it's so relaxing, like go hiking another day. You can go hiking back at home. I get to go, like Tennessee has amazing mountains. Like we get, it's so easy to go hiking around here. So I was like, I'll hike later. But I got to go spend a whole day at the Caesar's Palace Spa for $35 for the whole day, and just use their pools and their their jacuzzi and all their their saunas and their steam room, and eat all the really yummy snacks, and got fruit infused water. And also I was going to say, like, so I got to spend another whole day at the spa with no clothes on. It was so relaxing. I felt like a queen. It just totally recharged my batteries, and I was so glad I took 2 days to do that because I needed it. I was like at that point where it's like, okay, I need this time for myself just to let my mind wander. No pressure, no cell phone, no work, no social media, nothing to worry about, and recharge my cup, or recharge my battery, fill my cup back up. But I was going to say, Caesar's Palace had all those spas out there in Vegas are so well designed. But I literally felt like Cleopatra. It was like this Egyptian themed massive pool room, and it had like a cold pool, like a hot tub, and then it had this beautiful like warm bathwater, warm pool that just you're like sitting in this Egyptian temple, and it just was so relaxing and amazing. And I don't know, I just felt so pampered. So I was like, don't underestimate the power of letting yourself be pampered. And again, it's like, you don't like, there's no joy in getting yourself to the point of burnout in your business, and you can't solve problems from that place of like being drained of all your energy. You can't be excited for new solutions or new ways of looking at things in your business unless you get away from it. Unplug, literally unplug, and just give yourself that time to like rearrange, like, or come at it from a different angle. Because if you're getting towards burnout or stressed all the time, or just, kind of like on this track and it's not really satisfying you to the max, getting away so you can figure out, hey, I can do this a little bit easier. And that's actually what happened for me over the past 12 months, is like me rearranging my business to actually fit my needs for the moment. It's still not exactly where I want it to be, but like dropping one of my customers that was causing the 80-20 principle. Like 80% of my problems in my business were caused by one customer, and I was able to give them 30-day notice and say like, no, I can no longer serve you under these terms. Our contract had changed a bunch. This isn't my traditional business that this happened, but coming from a place of like knowing what is best for me and taking action towards that, instead of like doing things out of fear, like fear of like, oh, I can't give that customer up, I need them for my business, I won't have they're crucial to my business, and then realizing, no, they're not crucial. If anything, it's like hurting me, it's like, it's stressing me out, it's draining my energy. So that's another perk, get away, go camping. It costs like hardly anything to go camping, and just go camping, or take a nice long bath one evening, and not, allow someone else to take care of the kids, or let the rest of the family take care of themselves for the night, and just let yourself have that space where you just take care of you. Just take care of you. So I hope that helps. Dealing with burnout is not, you have to like get yourself back into a centered place where you feel more at ease, and that's the best way to make decisions for your business going forward. So anyway, so take care of yourself so you don't have to like deal with like yelling at your phone like I was. It's like, it's not a good place to be. Not a good place. You want to be excited about your business, right? You want your business to work for you and work around what you need, and not just you trying to fit in, trying to make your business work like this way and no other way. You want it to flow, and that's the best way to get it to flow without you sacrificing everything that you're in business for, especially if you're in there to, for wanting more freedom and joy and life and living. So, in time and energy. So, anyway, best of luck to you, and if you have any tips on how you deal with your burnout, I would love to hear them in the comments. So